pull this up here. Oops, that's not it. Save. Okay. Okay. I'm calling this meeting to order for the Madison College Student Senate General Assembly at 4:35 p.m. Now beginning with roll call.
Roll call starts now. Starting with Executive Council President Brito.
I'm here.
Vice President of Administration Finance Tang, present. Vice President of Legislative Affairs Hashmi.
Present.
Hashmi, are you there?
I see him, but I can't hear, so let's just...
Yeah, present. Sorry, that was me.
Vice President of Team Development, Salifu.
Present.
Wait, can you turn your camera on?
Not right now, but I will do.
Okay.
Advisor Cole.
Present.
Move to trust campus senators, Senator Avila. Senator Sarah Bronner. Senator Kamara.
Yes.
Senator Jackson Winters. Senator Jacobson. Senator Juf. Senator Wilkin.
Present.
Move to regional and metro campuses. Portage Senator Crowder. Reedsburg Senator Stacy Bronner.
Excused.
Fort Atkinson Senator Dirks.
Present.
Goodman South Senator Bissonnette.
Present.
Quorum met.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome to our General Assembly meeting of the Madison College Student Senate. This is a public meeting and will be recorded for transparency and record-keeping purposes. We're going to cover a few basic items before beginning. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, sorry, we're getting some Bluetooth speakers here. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, hello? Is this working now? Oh, okay. Sorry, technical difficulties. Thank you. The room was not working here, so now we got it working. Anyways, as chair, I'll call on the committee members in order in which their hands are raised. Lowering your hand will take you out of the queue. At this moment, can the advisor pull up the minutes? And Lando, if you just want to overview the minutes, just to give people a quick. for people that don't have it online.
Yeah, so essentially what you should know, last meeting, essentially, we had, let me double check there. Yeah, let's go over it. So we had Cody White come in and Sylvia Ramirez to speak on the budget situation coming over the next 3 years. So Cody mostly talked about different projects relating to construction here at Truex as well as at the other regional and metro campuses. And Dr. Sylvia Ramirez talked about the operations side. So the sort of day-to-day things that go on at the college, such as making sure there's enough funds going towards paying instructors, towards online subscriptions and other such things that the students need, and just kind of overviewing that sort of and then dining services and bookstore. Dr. Ramirez also talked about how those have been doing over the past couple of years and different initiatives that they want to tackle, such as keeping the dining room open a little bit longer, extending hours, hiring more people. They're in the process of hiring a new leadership team there. And the bookstore has been doing great as well this year.
Just faster. Yeah, just like
So, yeah.
overview.
Okay, so then essentially, those were our guest speakers, Dr. Cody White and Sylvia Ramirez. And then following that, we had a short discussion on the code of conduct for when we're talking. So essentially, it was the rules for respectful engagement. We just ran over those and gave comments on what we all agreed to be good rules to follow by when we're in a meeting and talking with others and listening. Then after that, we swore in a new senator, Senator Nevaeh Jackson Winters, who is currently present. So
Yes.
that was nice. We also had a little overview of the campus fun days taking place over the next few weeks. The Truex one was on Tuesday, the Fort one was yesterday, and me and Cole were there for that. And then we also, Cole sent out a poll for the town hall meetings. So make sure to please fill that out as soon as you can, just to see the availability.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds pretty good. If everyone had a chance to look through it while we were talking about it, do we have a motion to approve? So moved. Do we have a second? Okay, second by Senator Joof. Vote by unanimous approval. If no one's opposed to passing meeting minutes, we can pass them. Voting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No one is opposed. Meeting minutes do pass. Can you pull up the agenda really quick? The agenda is one page. Something to note for the agenda while Cole pulls it up is that this is a business only meeting. So we're going to be going through other things a lot quicker. We have very few reports and we have a lot of open discussion time periods. So there'll be a lot of time to discuss with Dr. Casper about, the academic affairs. And when we get into public comment, we'll talk about that. But you'll see here public comments. We do have the normal team building activity. We have some very quick reports from executive officers. We have a quick update on student activities board. Scroll down. We have very big discussions. We're going to talk about the rules for respectful engagement. Cole will read them out loud. Town hall. Oh, this is not the most up-to-date version, but that's okay. Resolution 3 on Hispanic Heritage Month. It's actually Resolution 4, which I do believe I updated, or maybe I didn't. So that's my bad. So we'll just update that when I'll publish it. So we have to fix that to Resolution 4 and Code of Conduct 30 minutes. So that'll be a discussion, which I sent out some information about. Does this all seem good to people? Along with the, my version to change the resolution number and add in that town hall section. Does that sound good? If we have a motion to accept that.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve. People online, do I see anyone online or anyone that would like to second? Okay, Senator Bissonnette would like to second that. I just missed it, Hassan. That's okay. Anyways, with that, vote unanimous approval. If there's no discussion, if anyone is opposed to passing the agenda, speak now in 5, 4, 3, 2-1. Okay, agenda passes. Now we can move on in the agenda. And we can begin with public comments. We have Dr. Tim Casper, the Executive Vice President of Academic Affairs, to talk about issues with academic affairs in our college. Sorry?
Student affairs.
Oh, my apologies.
Well, thank you. Echoing on my end. Is it an echo in your room? Okay, sounds good now. Couple things wanted to share with you all tonight. President Brito sent me in advance of the meeting, and so I'll touch upon a couple of those items, and then there's a couple additional items. I understand from the meeting minutes that you met with Cody White and Sylvia Ramirez last meeting. They talked to you about some projects, and there was a call out specifically about the vet tech project. I'm not an expert on the specifics as to what exactly those spaces are going to look like. I can share for you that the likely construction of those projects will be summer of 2026 through the fall of 2026. And the spaces that would be impacted would include those classrooms or lab spaces on the first floor of the east wing, where the veterinary technician program currently is, as well as the barn in the parking lot on the east side of the Truax main campus. So those would be the spaces that will be affected by this work. It's not expected that go out to bid until over a year from now. And then again, that construction happening in the summer to fall of 2026. If there's more specifics about the purposes and of the rooms and spaces that'll be renovated, I know you guys meet with Dr. Giles as well in the future, and she might be better positioned to respond to questions about the specific learning opportunities in those spaces. Anything else on that right now? Not hearing or seeing anything. Okay. Next one, to make you all aware. Oops, there's a hand. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Casper. I was hesitated to ask you this question. You might know or not know. The vet tech program hasn't been renovated or remodeled since the building was found and it was kept. And I heard that they were trying to move out of the building. Do you have any information about that?
So what I understand, because we're going to invest in the spaces in the Truax building and in the barn on the east side, that is my understanding, is that program is going to remain here at the Truax campus, but they're going to simply renovate those labs and spaces. Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Other moves, as I mentioned when I met with you all in July, and not all were present in July, but student affairs in the areas associated with the D block, which is behind the Student Success Center desk by the Intercultural Exchange. Those offices will be vacated beginning in the spring semester. Those services, most of them will move across the street to the Foundation Center, and some of them will move into the gateway area at the front of the building. And those spaces in the D block area should be completed by next August in time for the start of the fall 25 semester. We'll be beginning to produce additional communications to students and employees as we move deeper into the fall semester, making them aware of where service units will be located during the spring so people can effectively access those student service professionals that they are seeking to work with as students and as faculty and other staff, that they know where their colleagues are going to be working in the spring semester of 2025. Different note, just adding to you so you're aware, on behalf of the Learning Management System project team, I will be sending a communication to all students on Monday related to Brightspace. As many of you are aware on this group, Brightspace will become our new learning management system for all courses beginning in the fall of 2025. There will be some courses that will begin piloting the use of Brightspace this spring of 25, and those courses that will use Brightspace are going to be noted as such when you're making class selections. The memo that I'll send to you all also includes links to Brightspace resources. So for those who are interested in learning how Brightspace might function, they can begin to access some of that content that's posted in a library guide created by the library services team as well as the project team for the Brightspace project. So that's just an FYI. Any questions on that though? Seeing none. Oh, there's a question.
Thank you, Dr. Casper. I had a question about specifically area or like D-Wing where advisors exist.
Yeah.
So students gonna have to cross the street from between the foundation building and the main building. Do you guys have any plans specifically for that road? Because as a student, you would get, sorry, that's not a bad word to use, but you would get hesitated to go to another building. It's just because it's a long walk. Especially, and also like, do you guys have any consideration for people with disability for crossing that line to get into the foundation building?
So the facility itself is ADA accessible, so it meets those standards and requirements. The ability to cross the street has been enhanced for those of us who've been at the college for a long time because there's a button you can push to create that flashing yellow signal. That did not exist 5 or 6 years ago. It was pre-pandemic when that was added. I don't remember what year specifically, because of concerns, and that was when there weren't any student services over there, in effect. We're using the space because it's the best available space to use, not because it's ideal, but because we want to minimize the disruption that students have with their student service access. That's why we're going over to the Foundation Center. We will continue to offer the services virtually as we do today. So those students who feel discomfort with crossing the street to access the services could still meet with their professionals in this type of format, using video chat or old-fashioned telephone call as well. So we will also produce signage throughout the facility that'll be directing students to where those services are located, so they understand that they're not going to be in the D block. That'll be very visually obvious because there'll be a lot of drywall put around that space. There won't be any way to access those offices. The only office that will remain open during that time will be the intercultural exchange in that D block facility, excuse me.
Does that sound good, Hassan? Are you good on that question? Okay, yeah, thank you. Dr. Casper, I
Yeah,
just wanted to ask.
just to clarify, there will not be sorry, you don't expect any decreasing amount of student going to advisors, or
I
do
don't
you expect
I
that?
don't
That was
anticipate that,
my
no.
original way to say that question.
Yeah, no, don't anticipate that. Okay, moving on then, next item.
Oh, sorry, wait, I still wanted to ask a question.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about, so not all classes are transferring over to Brightspace. It's just some classes have the infrastructure to do so, and it'll depend on the instructor, is what it sounds like.
Correct. That is the understanding I have from the
Okay.
project team, that certain faculty have said, yes, we'd like to transition into Brightspace early.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Next item, hiring process. Back in July when I met with you all, we discussed having student participation in the hiring process for student fee funded positions. Colleagues in human resources provided language that I outlined with you all back then. That language will be inserted into the hiring manager guideline. And as we may have talked about with this group too, and I know I've talked with President Brito and Director Rome about, we will seek to reference that in documents and training materials for the Student Activity Board members and Student Senate. And so that'll be work that'll begin this year, just to cross-reference that, so that again, you all as student leaders on Student Senate, as well as your colleagues on the Student Activity Board, have a familiarity with that opportunity for students to participate in those hiring processes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Next, academic eligibility appeal policy. This is an item that came from some work that began in our shared governance system formally 2 years ago. They asked that then Provost Bakken and myself convene a team of some faculty and staff members, as well as students, to think about an academic eligibility appeals process. The purpose of an academic eligibility appeal process was really to provide an opportunity for students who might not have the GPA necessary to participate in things like Student Senate or other clubs and organizations that might have a grade point average requirement, to appeal that based on their performance in at least 6 credits and successfully meeting the grade point average for that particular activity. And so the provost, Provost Giles, is finalizing her review of that. I know she wanted to talk to her dean's team, and I don't believe that has occurred yet. I did reach out to her in advance of this meeting to confirm if that had occurred yet. Did not hear back from her. But once she confirms that they are comfortable with the language, we will add that to the policy center, and that'll become an opportunity for students to have an eligibility appeal for participation. Question.
Yeah, it sounded like you're coming to the end of that. So I remember that when we originally had a discussion last year, what about, so there's two questions I had to ask about. What about Madison College Foundation scholarships? Like, will those be included as part of the forgiveness that'll be for, the foundation? Or, I mean, that's up to the foundation. They're a separate entity. I do understand that.
Yeah. So on that, we can't determine how the foundation or other third parties would view their scholarship. So
Okay.
it makes it clear in the procedural guidelines that is not included. The other group of students who might have eligibility issues that we could not impact with this would be those student athletes, because there's NJCAA regulations regarding academic performance. And so this would not alleviate any of those issues for those student athletes.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask was whether or not, what about people who, went to school and then, at that point in time, you go to school at 18 and you're like, the school's not for me. I need to go get another job. And then they did really poorly. Like they got maybe an F, enough to where it brings their GPA down, where maybe you have like a 1.5 or something like that. Then you go back to school and you're trying to refresh. You get like a 3.5 your first semester. Wow, I'm really doing it at school.
Yeah.
But then you look 10 back years later, you average your GPA. Now you have like a 2.2 because those two things are added together when 10 years later you're trying to restart. Like, is that do we have some sort of policy for that?
Yeah, so procedurally, to address that issue, we would really look at performance in just one semester. So using that example, so the student had that GPA you described, a really low GPA when they were a young person. They came back 7-10 years later and took at least 6 credits in that semester, degree credit courses, and got a 3.5. We wouldn't seek to average that with their prior GPA. We would just assess the student's ability to be academically successful based on that one semester. So the 3.5 would become the GPA to use to determine whether the student could participate in Senate, for example.
Okay. And what's the limit? Like, are we looking back 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Like, is there some cutoff or?
No, there's no cutoff, but the student would only be able to use it one time. So if you wanted to extrapolate and say, well, a student over a 15-year period, they were here with us as a young person, got the bad GPA, then came back and did well for a while, and then they stopped out, or they wanted to start another degree program later in the future, and for some reason their GPA deteriorated. It's designed for one-time use. Now, I
you get a freebie. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So I will let this body know when that policy has been concurred with by the provost office.
What's the timeline on that? Like this year or next year?
Yeah, it should be this year. I mean,
wow.
I've talked to Provost Giles, Bill Doherty. He got some feedback input from some of those departments, like the athletic department that I referenced, so we could acknowledge that in the policy. And so I'm just waiting for Dr. Giles and her team to finalize any questions, comments they might have.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Next. I think the final thing I had, if I'm looking at my notes here, is collections. So there was a question about collections for past due tuition and or other fees. So the presently students, once they register for a class, do receive a tuition bill from us. Basically about every 3 weeks until that bill is paid. So if you registered for a class in, like, say, June for the fall semester, you might begin to get bills during the summertime. We have, Madison College, in terms of a deadline for completing payment, using the fall semester as an example, a later date to finish completing your payments for your tuition and fees. This year, that date is September 30th. And as you're aware, classes started on August the 26th of this year. We do permit students to partially pay. So using the example, the student registered for the class in June, and tuition for this fall would have been due September 30th. The student could make partial payments over that period of time if they chose to. We don't have a formal plan, but we would accept partial payments toward their tuition to that date. If we don't receive a payment 60 days past, in this case, September 30th, we do notify the student and provide an invoice to the student to make payment. And if after that we don't receive payment, the student after 30 days or thereabouts is sent to collections, which for us is the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. They serve as the collection agent for Wisconsin Technical Colleges. So the state DOR then would begin to work with the student to, if they chose to, set up a payment plan. And they could do that through the DOR, is my understanding from our college finance office. And they also can use and do use by their authorities that they have tax intercept. So it is possible for the Department of Revenue to claim a portion of any refund, income tax refund that a student might receive to make due on a past debt to Madison College. And so in the past, we had used third-party vendors to do this work. I can't remember exactly. I didn't get the date from the finance office, but we have been using solely the Department of Revenue, and that's been a better experience than those third-party providers in the past. Question?
Yeah, I guess my bigger question here is like, what does the notification process look like? Because in the past, and from a student that talked to me, said that they had gotten a letter about it. But, you know, I was gone last summer. I was in West Virginia doing a camp thing, and I come back and I got a letter and I opened up all my mail. I had a letter saying I had 3 days to pay this thing or I'd be sent to collections. I had to call financial aid and I got it on Saturday. So basically by the time I could call people, it was Monday and I had only 1 day left before I was about to be sent to collections. So I got it all sorted out in that day because it was summer. But like, is there a notification process? We're going to send you an email. We're going to call you and potentially leave a voicemail if you don't get it. Because I feel like for people that don't, you know, find their mail, or what if I'm out during the summer, then it's like, what are we going to do for them? Because like they could get sent to collections. Maybe they never even meant to do it. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I will follow up and get a more detailed understanding of what we do. I know, understanding from my conversation with the finance office, that they do not, you know, immediately expedite somebody's past due tuition to the collection office. So they do try and provide time. They also do, you know, work with students who might, you know, the day they get the notice from DOR, they might work and accept that student's tuition payment to rectify the situation as quickly as possible. But I can find out more about other notifications they provide to students.
Thank you. Hassan?
Yeah, well, on your last second comment that you said,
Yeah.
I've been told by the financial office, and I'm not 100% sure about it, I'm 99% sure, is that the actual due date of your classes, like payment day, is 90 days after the due date. So I'm not sure how will that work with the collections, but like you technically do not get any penalties the next 90 days of your due class payments. That was my first comment. Again, I have to make sure that I said right. Do you know any information?
No, that is my understanding. So as I said earlier, so if you're late by 60 days, you're simply late. And then you would receive a notice that will be sent to collection within 30 days. So that's the 90 days you referenced.
I have a second question. This year, federal FAFSA, federal financial aid, they have been in trouble with their websites, especially like it's a remodeled and new design website. I do know several other students, they're eligible for financial aid, but it's just not going through their system for the federal financial aid. Are you guys aware of that? And is there anything that you guys are providing, working with FAFSA for students who are eligible for financial aid, but their financial aid is just not going through the system because it's a new system that have modeled that?
Yeah. So our financial aid office, like other financial aid offices across the country, are very, very aware of the challenges that have occurred with a process that was supposed to make the financial aid application process much more simpler for students and their families. The performance on transitioning to that simpler form has been less than an ideal experience for students and their families as well as for college administrators in those financial aid offices. So our team continues to be aware of and work with students and their families, if their families are involved, in completing those financial aid applications and seeking to get those students who are eligible for certain grant and or other aid access to that. And so that's what we're doing. We've been very aware of that throughout the summer as they being the U.S. Department of Education has made that transition, again, not in a very smooth fashion. Mm-hmm. And that's all I had this evening then.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. If that's all you had for that, do we take this time to open up for questions? We have 5 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Casper while he's here? Anyone in the audience, perhaps? No, just listening today. Okay, just to let everyone know, my friend here, Jose, came to listen about Student Senate. So, just bringing people in, just so they can understand stuff. Okay, so that's really good. Dr. Casper, I did ask. You said that. Well, okay, I guess we'll wait for the provost on those things that you told me about, right?
Yeah, I think she'll be in a better position to address them, and you can have a more meaningful conversation about course modalities.
Okay. Yeah, and the only other thing is, while we have you here, would it be appropriate to pre-talk about SAB? There's one topic I'd like to bring up, that one I emailed you about, but we can wait on that if you think.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to open the email. I saw it in my inbox, but I didn't have a chance to review it prior to this meeting.
Is it okay to bring it up now?
Sure.
Okay, so the idea that we've had is that there's so many groups that purchase flights, right?
Mm-hmm.
National and state travel. We purchase flights to go certain places. UCG has an annual conference. So does athletics, is probably the biggest group of student life that flies. I know that Clarion, I'm going to New Orleans with Clarion. Student Senate has a flight. Well, we could flow, but Nohia's not here. We ended up driving there. But like, there's many groups on campus that fly for conferences and competitions. Skills USA, right? Well, we're actually kind of missing out on revenue by not having a purchasing card for travel miles that we could be collecting, because instead we're paying raw value and all of that instead of collecting all of the extra miles for points that we could be using to subsidize flights that we have in the future. So I feel like if there's a way that, and obviously this will be a longer conversation, maybe we can even solve it in a semester. Probably will take a whole year to work with the finance department, but perhaps Student Life could have one card and every single group uses that card to purchase out things, and we'll have to take some extra work to allocate certain budgets to how much they're getting and what percentage of points they're getting back. But I think it'd be worth it to save money, because then basically we wouldn't be using as much of the student funds on all these extra flights when we could be getting the points. What do you generally think of that?
There's probably a lot of questions that I'm not even well positioned to ask today. I'll say that.
Okay.
I don't think about purchasing in a detailed enough fashion to offer what concerns the finance office might have. But definitely, I think working with Sylvia Ramirez and the team in the finance office, they could at least assess what's the potential of that type of an arrangement.
So it would be talk to SAB, and then should I pre-talk to Sylvia now, or Dr.
Yeah,
Ramirez?
I think I can reach out to Sylvia
Please.
on your behalf and make her and her office aware, and they might have questions and considerations even with this short amount of information in the email that you provided me earlier.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Does anyone else have a question? He has 2 minutes left. Yeah, 2 minutes left. Anyone else have a question, or can we let Dr. Casper have some time back? I don't see any hands online either, so. Okay, well, with that, thank you very much, Dr. Casper, Executive Vice President of Student Affairs. Got it right this time. So thank you very much for coming today.
Yeah, well, thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your meeting and have a good evening. Bye.
Bye-bye. I just like doing that. Okay, now we can move on to the agenda. We have a team building activity. VP Salifu, I know you're not feeling well, but do you want to run it? Or I know what your idea is, so I could run it, but I don't want to take away your thunder if you want to do it.
Oh yeah, I think I can just do it. So today for the team development activity, it is sharing two truth and one lie. I can go first. Um, I like anime. I like spicy food, and I went to Brazil last year. So, which one you think is a lie or between all of this one?
I know the answer, but I won't say.
No.
I won't say. I won't say. I won't say.
Okay. Someone else wanna try?
I'm sorry,
think
could you
the
repeat all
lie-
of your three lies?
Yes. I love anime. I love spicy food, and I went to Brazil last year.
Spicy food is a lie.
What? Yes.
Which one?
Which one is a lie?
Spicy lie.
Okay. Someone else wanna try? I know Angel said the anime.
Yeah, wait, one more person and we can move. You can just tell us. Who wants to guess? Maggie Yilong, you have a guess?
Yes, what?
You want to guess the two truths and a lie?
The two to what?
Okay, okay. Nevea, Layla, do you-
I think
You
Hassan
think-
wanna try. Go ahead.
wait, Hassan?
I guess the last one.
He's smiling.
Hassan, what you saying?
Yeah, I think what you're lying and what you're saying about.
All of it?
Uh,
Every single one?
So I think the
No,
truth is you love anime. I
Yeah.
think the truth is you love anime. The lie is that it's hard. You went to where? I don't know where's that place.
I went to
Is
Brazil.
that the where?
Brazil.
Yeah, last year.
Oh, that's so hard. The lie is that you went to Brazil, and the truth is that you love spice and then you love anime.
Okay, what is
Nice.
it?
Yeah, they're right. Sylvia and Hassan is right.
Yeah.
Angel,
Yeah.
I love anime, so that is a truth.
I would know if you went to Brazil. I'd see it all over. We'd be talking about grilled pineapple all the time. Maybe we can go to Samba. Maybe when you graduate. That's
You
my
wanna play
almost.
that for me? I
That's
can
my
go.
almost. That's my almost promise to you, Nohaya.
Okay, I take it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, make it to the end of Senate. I'll get you a grilled
Yes,
pineapple meal and meat too, obviously.
Thank you. Who wants to
Okay.
go
Oh,
next?
two more people. Oh, okay. Who wants to? Okay, we can't do everyone, but if two more people want to go,
Yeah, for sure.
does anyone want to go? I have something ready.
I mean, you can go.
Should I go? Okay. Well, one, I graduated military academy with second lieutenant. Two, I've been to 6 out of 7 continents. And then 3, I've successfully stolen money from a bank before.
Oh, I know you pretty well.
I
Kai.
think the continent is the lie.
You think it's continent?
Kai,
Yeah,
did
he's
you just
lying.
admit to robbing a bank?
Did I? Does anyone else have any other guess?
I'm gonna sit in continent 1 too.
You
I
think so?
think all three is a lie.
All 3 is a lie.
That can be a sign. Just one can be a lie.
I'm gonna do the first one.
What's the first one?
There's a
What was the
lie.
first one?
Military.
Oh, military? Okay. I didn't remember which one I said which because I had this all planned out. Okay, I think
You say
we
you graduate for a military?
military academy, second lieutenant,
Yeah.
officer status. Yeah.
Oh, I
okay,
wish you were a
well-
second lieutenant. Oh.
And 3, you stole money from a bank, you say?
Okay, well, okay, I'll just tell you. So I haven't been a 6 out of 7. I've been a 5 out of 7. I considered telling 3 truths, and then that would be the lie that I told 3 truths. So I thought it'd be funny, but I didn't do that. No, I did steal money from a bank, but it was by accident.
So
I
which one is a
stole-
lie?
Stole like
Wait, how?
$100. I've been to
Oh.
5 out of 7 continents. I haven't been to Asia yet,
Dang.
I know that was a lie.
and Antarctica not either. Yeah, I've been to Ecuador. I've been to Europe and Iceland. I've been to Kenya, and I haven't been to Asia yet. And I've been to
You
New
went to
Zealand.
Iceland, you never told me, Kai.
I went to Iceland, which is Europe. I've been to New Zealand and Australia-ish. So, yeah.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. Yep. And I did steal money from a bank because I withdrew all my money the same day. I took $100 out beforehand so that it didn't hit the bank account. So I stole $100. Yeah. I gave it back
Did you
though.
pay the
Don't
money
worry.
back?
That's a
Oh.
felony, Kai. That's
I
a
gave
felony.
it back to them. There was
You will
no.
be charged.
We are past the statute of limitations. So okay, we can move on. Is there anyone else that wants to do two truths and a lie?
If no one else chooses to go, I can go.
Yeah, Cole. Honestly, does anyone else want to go, or do you want to hear Cole?
I want to hear.
Let's go, Cole. Cole.
Start.
All right. To the meeting as well.
Oh,
Oh, you can still hear me. That's gonna be awkward. So, my two truths and a lie.
Mhm.
That reverb. So my first one is that I've met 5 hip hop artists. I used to have a purebred basset hound, and I have broken my nose 3 times.
Broke your nose 3 times is a lie.
Broken nose 3 times is the lie. Okay.
Yeah.
I wrote broken nose.
I think it's the 5 rap artists.
I think it's the best. I think it's the best. No.
Okay. Any other guesses?
You didn't broke the nose 5 times.
Actually,
Did I say 4 times? I think I said broke my nose 4 times, right?
So you said 3 times.
3 times, even better.
You said you don't remember.
fine.
That means
Okay.
a lie.
That's fine.
Is that part of the psychology?
Maybe. So yeah, the lie is that I've actually broken my nose 5 times.
5.
Oh, okay.
Who would I meet artist wise?
Yeah.
I've met B.O.B., Wiz Khalifa. I've met his name's Frank Nitty. He did all of the producing for like if you ever know who Young Jock is, met him. And then twice randomly I met Pimp C. You ever listened to UGK? So, but yeah, I did have a
How
basset
did
hound
you
named
meet
Roxy.
Wiz Khalifa?
Oh, amazing.
It's my turn now.
Wait, hold on. How did you meet Wiz Khalifa?
Oh, we said we were gonna have. We don't have time for.
Just one,
Can
please.
you do? Okay, we.
We can hear you guys.
Past president, and I've
Yeah,
met,
sorry. I said, how did you meet Wiz Khalifa?
O'Neal. I've
One
met
second.
Shaquille O'Neal, ex-basketball and NBA player, and I've slapped my teacher, my elementary teacher. So
I believe that last one. It's gotta be the
Wait.
middle.
Maggie, can you repeat again?
I
Can you
I was
repeat?
my president in high school,
Yes.
and I've met Shaquille O'Neal, ex-NBA player, and I've slapped my elementary teacher.
She wasn't the president because I feel like she wouldn't want to do that.
I think the tree was a lie. The tree is a lie. Did you
The
slap your
slapping?
teacher? Yeah. I think
No,
it's a
she
lie.
slapped the teacher, I believe. She's not. She wasn't the president
Who
though.
wants to say?
Haven't met Shaq.
Okay.
That's gonna be what.
Who wants to say anything else? Should
I
I
don't
go?
think you wanted to be president.
Okay. You didn't slap your teacher.
What is it?
Okay, I didn't slap my teacher, but I've met.
Dang.
I
I
heard you. I know.
27th, and I have the picture.
I'm surprised you wanted to be
I
president.
was the class president.
I'm surprised you wanted to be president because
I was very active and famous. So.
not that I don't believe that. I just didn't think you'd be class president when your principal was who your principal was.
Whatever.
That's why. That's why.
So,
I won't say it. I'm just saying. I just didn't think.
I
Okay.
spread-
Nice.
No. Yeah, that makes sense.
I
Okay.
didn't slap my teacher.
I thought you did.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
We
I know
can.
that was a lie.
Yeah, that was right. I dare not.
Okay, we'll move on. That was really fun. Thanks, Nohaya, for planning this event.
And thank you for
Moving
sharing,
on.
guys.
Thank you. Moving on, let's do disclosures and recusals. Would any member like to disclose any partnerships, affiliations, associations, ownership, et cetera, regarding any business items up for discussion? The 3 business items up for discussion in the town hall. Resolution number 4, Hispanic Heritage Month and Code of Conduct. Anything to disclose? That's related to anything? Hearing none, we can move on. Executive Council and President report. I did submit that online, but essentially all I wanted to say is remember to submit your office hours. I did create a video. I don't think anyone could access it. I sent it to Cole and Elon. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Yep.
Yeah, what did you think? Generally good? Okay, so I'll be sending it out after this meeting, not tomorrow, but like on like Saturday as a reminder to fill out your office hours. So Elon has a reminder sent out on Friday night. So we'll send it on Saturday. So I'm gonna get a chance to look at it. So that'll be good. The other thing is that this is a business only meeting. So we're not doing a lot of reports. So it's gonna be a test for how things are gonna go. So we might, if things go well, we'll talk about it next week and see if we like this format. The only other thing is that for shared governance, there is an update on shared governance and that they're going to be talking about, they're meeting about it in October, and in November, they're going to be electing the new presidents, and next semester and maybe even December, that'll be ready to go. So moving on, that's all I have for you. So we can move on to Administration Finance Committee. Anything there? Quick updates?
Yeah, just quick updates. So,
Let me do this.
so we just approved,
Fine, because it's locked in.
so we have just approved another funding request for another food funding request around $100. We made a problem about the taxing issue. So the invoice they sent to us as a tax like $8. It raised a concern because if we approve every request with a tax, that can be like 100 requests per semester or school year. So that may raise to like $800 or maybe $1,000. And we are still investigating that issue, and we'll try to get the text off the invoice for future funding requests. Any questions?
Don't see any. One question. Make it quick, please.
So you were saying that the tax is basically gonna bite into the budget. Are we able to utilize the college's tax exempt?
We're trying to work with that. Theoretically, catering should never be charging tax to us. So we need to make it so that if we're required to use catering, they can't charge us tax because it's for an educational purpose. So they never should have charged in the first place. And if every single club has to go to them and reverse it, that's going to cause a big backlog and it's going to eat into our ELT funds. So that's why we're working on that.
Will they be paying this?
I hope so. Can't promise anything. We're working on it. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, we can go into legislative affairs. Hassan, you've got a quick update to give?
Yeah, I don't have any major updates. It's just we had a semi meeting this week. The time we're still, hopefully by the end of this weekend, I'll figure out everybody's time. And yeah, that's it. I did follow up personally with the veterinary technician program, their manager. I did send them the updates on their projects, and there's a lot of students are asking over there. So yeah, that's like on the personal side.
Sorry, we're thinking Wednesdays from 3 to 4, pretty much. So, and then Angel will talk to you individually about when you can meet for that. Sound good?
I agree.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Angel. All right, moving on, team development. You got something quick for us?
Not really. We just talk about like how to make more events to get like students involved in the campus, and we have to talk about it like during our next week again. I think that briefly. Oh, and also I want to say thank you to the students who joined the Laraza event on Wednesday. I was sick, so I was not able to be there. But thank you guys for being there.
It was really fun. I didn't get to eat any food though, because I came and I recruited people, and then they're like, "Hi, you can't have the food right now. It's not open." So that's okay. But next time I'll eat the good food. Okay. We can move on to public relations. No public relations advisory report. Something quick. Perfect.
So quick with the advisory report, please make sure that you
are submitting any report that you may have through the form that should have been sent to you all. I'll resend it if you don't think you have it. Secondly, please continue to meet with me for your one-on-ones. And then lastly, I think it was just something you mentioned. I am on the shared governance communication team.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. So that happened today. So I'll be able to report back to you about what is the shared governance process looking like, as our first meeting is tomorrow morning.
The fourth thing was the announcement of the public relations.
And,
Public relations president. Open call.
Yeah, I thought we were doing that a little bit later.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're all good.
Or
We
where's-
will, I will say in the future here, we will be opening up a call to fill the VP of PR position once we kind of have a couple more things figured out, but that will be coming before the end of the month here to open calls for that. And we'll talk about eligibility as well for that, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Any questions? Is that it? Cool.
Thank you. He's scooting on over back. Okay, now we can move on. Unfinished business, no unfinished business, new business, rules for respectful engagement. Cole is just going to read through the 12 rules that we had because we're going to have big discussions now. We have 65 minutes to discuss things. And I think some of the things I put on there aren't going to take as long as I said they were. So, but they are going to be, there's open discussion time for this later hour here. So Cole, if you just want to read the 12 rules that we agreed upon, and if it's possible to share them on your screen.
We'll share them real quick. As I scoot up here more. Show me. Patrick, thank you. Let me go share.
Then,
Let's wait until the next
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Right. So I'm just gonna go on ahead and pull up the minutes previously, because it does have our respectful engagement rules there.
Yes.
So our rules for respectful engagement are as follows. This is what we agreed upon and voted on unanimously last week. Be actively listening throughout the conversation. Keep an open mind and seek to understand, not respond. Show patience with one another. Focus on collaborating, not separating. Be polite. Focus on I statements. Avoid interrupting one another to allow for someone to explain their full thought. Come informed and prepared. Show emotional empathy in the conversation. Utilize your resources when necessary. Be respectful of someone's background and identity. Create an inclusive space for all to participate in. Show agreement in the conversation even when you disagree. Those are the 12 rules of engagement that we had discussed. And yes.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye to Senator Orlando Dix. Have fun recording all our thoughts on this next part of the meeting. Okay, now I believe we had a motion that I did not recognize, but now we'll recognize.
motion to suspend, Robert's rules of order.
Okay, does require 1 second. Are we okay? So lesson time. A motion to suspend Robert's Rules of Order means that we don't have to raise our hands for a motion or anything like that. It just means that during the rest of the conversation, the chair will not recognize people. It's just kind of a free-for-all conversation. So, but we are still limited by time, and you will need to make a motion to extend time. But for the duration of that item, which we set for 25 minutes, which probably won't take 25 minutes, but we won't be able to, we can just free-flow talk. If that sounds okay, you can second now. Second by Senator
I'm sorry,
Jackson
I'm
Ortiz.
opposed. So what free talks are we going to talk about during that 20 minutes? I don't understand.
It's going to be the town hall.
Okay.
Are we okay? I think it's going to be, no one's going to be talking over each other generally. I think it'll be fine. If you don't want to do it, we can, I think we should try it though, personally, but this is a discussion time. So is there any other dissent? We'll do a vote by, vote by roll call, or not roll call, vote by voice call, and just see what people think, because it does seem like some people are not unanimous about this. So at this point, if there's no further discussion, then all those in favor of suspending Robert's rules, raise your hand or say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I don't vote on this actually. 6, 7, 8. That does seem to be majority, but let's just see who says no. All those opposed, say no or raise your hand. Okay, 2 opposed. Do we have anyone abstaining from this? I don't think I saw Ibrahima or Yulong. Okay, Ibrahima, Yulong don't want to. Okay, well, at that point, the ayes do have it, so that motion does pass. I promise you that we will be orderly and not make things difficult. But at this point, Cole, if you want to just take lead of this part of the conversation, and just remember everyone, rules of respectful engagement. Don't talk over Cole as he takes the lead on this first part of the conversation.
For sure. So, by the way, folks online, can you hear me clearly? Thank you so much. I'm going to use your mic. So as we discussed here, and I'll pull back up, we're wanting to move forward in ensuring that we are able to have a progressive and understanding conversation with our the rules for respectful engagement, as we do understand and can comprehend that certain topics that we may talk about may be seen as divisive or create undue issues, and therefore we're looking to move forward with these statements here that would allow us to be able to hold each other to a standard that would allow us to have constructive conversations forward. So I guess the first thing I want to open it up to is, are there any concerns or issues with what is stated here? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see all of you online. And this is all in the minutes from our last meeting, so you can refer to them as well through our SharePoint as well as Wolfpack Connect. So Sylvia provided us a thumbs up. So Sylvia, I'm assuming you agree with what you had discussed, so I appreciate that. I'm getting other thumbs up as well. So I'll open up at this time. Is there any dissent or issue with what we provided up to this point?
No, I thought we were going to talk about the town hall.
Oh, I thought we were talking about this still. We're talking about town hall now.
Yes, that's why.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, I think everyone is okay with the rules.
Well,
Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, let's talk about our town hall.
Okay.
So historically, Student Senate has hosted 2 town halls throughout the academic year, one in the fall and one in the spring. We try to separate those town halls by different areas. So one area being Goodman South and the other being held at the Truax campus here. Previously, I had put out a poll to everybody that would try to gain your insight into what your class schedule would allow you to join us for a town hall meeting for a one-time event. What we quickly identified through that is that we do not have anybody available during a time that would be a high period of traffic to have students be available and provide us their insight for a town hall. So with that, through some discussion with other folks, through some of the committees and through executive council, we have created an idea that we are looking for y'all's approval on, because I think that this has to be something that we are all buying into. And so that idea is the following. During the week, preliminarily, we can decide if we want to modify it, but during the week preliminarily, that is during Halloween, so Monday, October 28th through Friday, November 1st, we would host a week-long passive town hall-based event that would involve us, everybody on Senate, including myself, tabling for 1 hour out in the either cafeteria or the atrium area. That hasn't been decided, and we are flexible with either area. That would allow us to engage students where they are at, provide them some insight into certain topics that have been discussed prior, which we will have within our advertisement, and then just try to gain as many student voices as possible on issues that may concern them, and provide that to be our focus as we move forward. Again, it would be over a period of a week. Everybody would have to be present for 1 hour, and we would coordinate that schedule ahead of time. We would try to work with you to the best of our abilities. However, one thing I will have to refer back to here is that when we all signed our agreement to serve, this is one of those things that we have to be prepared for to serve with. And then lastly, this would count for your office hours for the week in your 1 hour of table. Did I miss anything, President Brito, based on our discussion?
No, that's fine. And then Hassan, you can just straight up ask a question. So the only thing that changed from Robert's rules
I don't want to interrupt, Cole. So you said over a period of week. I thought it's only 1 day thing. And are we? I had a misconception, so that's why I'm clarifying.
There's no sound.
That's my bad.
No problem. When we tried to look at the 1 day event, we had nobody available for the days that we identified, minus 2 individuals. That was it. And a town hall is not effective with just 2 individuals present, as this is something that we're supposed to engage the entire Madison College community obviously at Truax, but we will try to find other additional ways to engage our students at other campuses and online. So that is why we moved to the one week faster version. Go ahead.
It's better. Yeah, sorry. It's a better idea to have it over a week. I'm not aware if all these senators know about this because we were just originally talking about it just for one day. So I would make this as an announcement that we're.
So that's why we're bringing it up
switching
now. We
over a
haven't
week.
agreed upon it.
We haven't agreed upon it. We're deciding now if that sounds okay.
Do you have anything else?
Hassan?
Freeze?
I think he's frozen. What a face to freeze on.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's back.
All right. Other insights, discussions.
So for myself, I love the idea of having mini town halls. I personally would like us to try and utilize any events that are going on to also get additional feedback. Sometimes it's hard to get people to stop without having some sort of angle, like we're gonna give you free pizza, we're gonna give you free candy to get them to engage.
I agree.
But if they're at some type of event, like when we did it at the open mic event last year, people were there for the open mic event. There was already stuff going on there. And then we just went around quietly and asked people to come and check out these tables that had, I think, 6 different questions on them on big whiteboards. And I felt like we got solid feedback from doing it that way. So that's my 2 cents.
So one thing we can still do when you're out there tabling, we can have a whiteboard out there that you can write ideas on. And then afterwards you take a picture of it and then we'll have new pictures all the time so that people's ideas get recorded down there. We should also have a sign up sheet so that people can write their names down and on check-in so that they can say that, oh, I checked into it. So we can get an accurate count of how many students are engaged. We can still bring food for it. I don't think it'll be like pizza because it's hot food. So it's not gonna really last because the biggest problem why we can't do that is because no one has like the same time free. And it's like, if we're not free between like basically 10 and 2 p.m., there's very little people there. And then 3 p.m. is like classic club time. So it'd be eating into those types of events. So it's like, and then no one's just free, right? So we just can't find a time where everyone's together. And that's kind of why we just want a table when everyone has time. You do it for 1 hour, you get all your office hours. That's true even for officers who have 4 hours requirement. So you do it for 1 hour, we'll do that because we'll still have our meetings that week.
We can purchase candy too.
Yeah.
That's no issue with that. We can definitely do that.
Or fruits.
Or fruits. Yes, we can provide any of that. The idea of collaborating with different events, totally open for it. That might have to be something we try to work into next semester, just given our time frame right now.
Sure.
That is the one part where I think if we had additional time or could have potentially started talking in like August, definitely something that I think is beneficial and that we can do that outreach. So once we've identified what we want to do for this semester, we can begin that work for next semester to start combining it with different events and clubs as we move forward. So I do like that idea. Cameron, I see your point. Week period is good too because you see different people. 100% agree, and that's why we're going to try and stack this to have over the course of maybe a couple hours every day. Because hopefully, I don't think we're all going to have the same exact schedule, and so hopefully we can all have that covered. Sylvia.
I guess that was kind of leading to my next question. It's like, does it have to be on Wednesdays? Because my class time interferes. That was my question.
Yep, and so we're trying to span the entire week from Monday to Friday. So we're asking for 1 hour, and we do recognize that there may be some days that we have 2 or 3 people that are available at a time. We're gonna start identifying, we're gonna create that schedule, and then we'll identify what additional steps could be taken if we have more than one person present, because the other part of this is definitely a big point is going around and engaging students, even if you're not at the table, to say, come check out this table with Student Senate. I know that's been a huge thing with last year as well. So those are the big points. So I appreciate that. That is valid.
I'm looking on Wolfpack Connect just so that we're aware and maybe we can keep an eye on the events that are going on. I'm not trying to reiterate what I was saying before. I'm just saying that we could be intentional and like go to some of these areas and say, hey, we've got our information out, either bring it to them and leave or invite them to come over to us. It looks like there's a volleyball league, a Red Cross blood drive, early voting on campus, chess club.
Sure.
Just some opportunities.
Yep.
Are we gonna have like a dress code?
I mean, I would prefer while we're doing this, if we can all wear our jackets. I think that would be the ideal thing. Yeah, that would be my deferral to it. I don't have any other specific requirement, just the jacket to identify that you're part of Student Senate.
So right now, I'm a little confused between a tabling and the town hall. Because this seems all to me is like a tabling.
Sure, so let me see if I can clarify this. Our traditional town hall event isn't gonna work this semester. And that's just the bare bones of it. Like it will not work because we will not have senators available, and that's just how life goes with classes. So our tabling event will become the town hall event for this semester. So instead of us marketing one day, only one day to gain insight, we will go through and host an entire week. We will market it out. We have an ad going in the Clarion. I will be creating all events in Wolfpack Connect. I will be identifying the dates and the times that we have individuals present so that other students can come and find us. So our town hall, to gain their insight and the issues that they have and what they want addressed, we will be doing that in a passive manner that is through tabling. Does that help?
Yeah, basically instead of the town hall where we all meet together and try to have one event where there's music and food and stuff like that, that's what I originally envisioned. It just won't work. So we're just going to table and call it a town hall. And we're going to do the same thing that you would do in a town hall, but we're all going to individually do it for 1 hour. It's going to count for all your office hours. And then we're going to do it Monday through Thursday. And then we can talk about our whole experience together at that meeting. So we can have a meeting, and maybe, is that the week where it's on at Halloween, and maybe we can find a way to do that like virtually or something, or?
Yes, what I would say is I extend it to Friday.
Really?
I would extend it. Let's just cover our bases. Let's just extend it to Friday. And the Friday, again, it's going to come down to what we have for availability.
I just think that there's just no one on campus on Friday.
And that can be the time that I do it. That's fine.
We have,
That
we
would
have,
bother
we have
me.
a question.
Oh, go ahead, Angel.
Nevaeh.
Oh,
I was just asking like, what is it?
sure. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah. So last year, so me and Annette and Cameron and Angel, actually you were here too, Maggie too. We had a town hall where we kind of gather, Senate, it's like the few events that Senate puts on throughout the year. So we kind of get a bunch of food, we get music, we have a presentation ready, and we try and educate people and get them in with the promise of food and hear their concerns. So people come in and say, what do they want to change about school? What do they like about school? What should we do differently? And that kind of thing, just to engage them and bring them in. Now we're just going to break it up and have people do on their individual times. And now we'll just do mini town halls, one-on-one with people, because the goal of a town hall is to meet people and hear what they care about, right? So now we're just going to do that individually and just basically turn it into a week of tabling. We're going to go out and try and meet people.
So are they usually at Truex or is it?
It switches. So we try to do one at Truax and one at Goodman South. There isn't, you have to do Truax first, like fall, and then Goodman South the spring. We get to choose. So this time around, for this tabling event, we will be doing this at Truax. Next semester, the idea, and we're not going to jump this far ahead, but realistically, the next semester is the idea is we do host an in-person event that is not tabling, most likely at Goodman South because we need to be there. That is our hope, but we're not going to jump to that at the moment just because we also need to see if this is going to work. Those are our big what ifs right now. Does that answer your question? Good question.
I will say, the plus about having the town hall at Goodman South is that, and I guess it could be an advantage here too, is that if we work with the STEM program, we were able to get them to send their students over to the event. And we may be able to do that here too, because I found out that the first year students are at the Goodman South campus. The second year students and on are over here. We just need to talk with the gentleman in charge. I can't think of his name right now, but I have it in my email. Let me email him.
Yeah,
And then I was gonna say, I don't know if anybody was on campus earlier this week. I think it might have been yesterday when the radio people were here and they were collecting information from people about like, how do you feel about the candidates? It's basically the same concept, except they had extra get up there. We could always talk to the Clarion Radio and ask them to bring their extra get up out to help us out.
We can borrow their speaker too, and we can set
Yeah.
up music. That's what I did last year with people to recruit for the referendum. So yeah, we can put music out there. We can still have food like oranges, snacks, goldfish, those kinds of things that just like, get people to engage. Maybe we could get that clicker, borrow it from Student Life, so we can drop and then get the QR code sign up sheet, and then what's it called, like a big poster board or like a whiteboard if possible. Just get people to write their ideas down. I think it'd be good. Yeah. Does anyone else have other ideas that might help with this? And hold on to Goodman Styles because we're going to plan that for next year.
I know.
Because we can't. Yeah, next semester because 2025. But yeah, so we will because we need to come there in person. It doesn't really work like that. So we want to show our face there.
Is there anybody who is openly just opposed to this? I want to hear that if that is the case. Right. So, I don't think we need to go through the vote or anything.
Nope, there's no vote needed.
So, seeing that there's no dissent to it, yes, the other part that I forgot to mention, so thank you, President Brito, is that for the week that we would host this, we would not have our General Assembly meeting. That would be October 31st, that is Halloween. So this would be in lieu of that, which is also why we are gonna require everybody to do the 1 hour.
We were thinking about, I wasn't sure if that was like on the table yet, so I didn't mention it. So I was like, oh, what are we remembering?
I'm open to be on the
Yeah.
table.
No, I am. I just didn't want to, I wasn't sure where we landed on that. So yes, okay, we can cancel that week.
Yes.
And it gives people a chance to do things on Halloween.
Yes.
So
So, we are looking at Monday, October 28th through Friday, November 1st, with the Friday having the asterisk. We will identify what that looks like. It should be any typical week. I'm not aware of when's the midterm schedule, normally like mid-October, historically.
It's really random with classes. Some classes have different ones. I don't know if there's really a week for it. It depends on the class, I'd say.
Awesome. So, what we have identified through the conversations that we have had is that week is looking to be open for most folks. Again, it's not gonna be, you have this one shift is only you, it's you and only you. If we have multiple people who are available on a day during a time, we're going to work with that. Our biggest thing is that we want coverage throughout the whole week. That's our end game here. So if I have one person on Monday, because that's the only time that works, and 3 people on Wednesday, guess what? We're gonna make it work. I have no issue or dilemma with that. And I will work with President Brito to coordinate the schedule. We will collect y'all's availability and we will build it out from there. All you all will have to do is go to the table that I will have set up for everybody. That's all you have to do, and we'll give you the script of what to say.
Okay,
All
so
that good stuff will
there's
be
no
done
first
by-
come, like,
So, all right, what's up, Hassan?
you don't. So it's not gonna be like, okay, there's 3 people, we can't have a 4th one.
I'm not going to limit it unless we're talking everybody's on one day. That's why we're gonna collect all availability.
I think it's nice when you're with someone else. I think 3 people probably is maybe the max you want to do because you want to split the time.
Yes.
So yeah, the goal is to be able to hit a span of time. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it with a buddy, but yeah, I do think that if everyone were together, then we kind of like then basically that we could have done the town hall at that point.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That would be
So that's probably realistically not going to happen.
So, I believe that is everything on this topic for myself. Myself and President Brito will be reaching out to you all to collect your availability. And my goal is before, the, WSG meeting that we have to attend to, I have 90% of this completed so that I can begin creating all of the logistics and the marketing material besides what is going into the Clarion, which we have pretty much ready to go. All right, seeing no further questions, I will yield to the next topic.
Perfect. Okay, we can move on to resolution number 4, Hispanic Heritage Month. Let's go ahead and share my screen. And this is a bill that I wrote and talked to several people about just to make sure that we're on the same page here, but this is for Hispanic Heritage Month. So the resolution proposed is Student Senate hereby proclaims September 15 to October 15 in 2024 as Hispanic Heritage Month. It's being brought by me and co-sponsored. I talked to Vice President Hassan Hashmi about it, Vice President Ohaya Salifu, and Senator Sylvia Bissonnette. The formal resolution is that Student Senate will recognize September 15th as the start of Hispanic Heritage Month, which will continue through October 15th, 2024, and we support Hispanic communities across all Madison College campuses. The Student Senate will collaborate with La Raza Unida and intercultural exchange. And the goal of this resolution is really just to build more collaborations, specifically because of this month. That's why we call it La Raza and IE. For primary reasoning, we have Hispanic Heritage Month begins on September 15 in honor of the Independence Day of 5 Central American countries: Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. For over 30 years, Hispanic Heritage Month has been celebrated across the United States to recognize the numerous social, cultural, economic, and historical contribution of residents with roots to Spain, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and Spanish-speaking nations of Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. Hispanic leaders have also been and continue to be prominent voices in social and political movements, advocating for issues that affect the Hispanic community, such as education, housing, economic prosperity, civil rights, and immigration reform, and were particularly vital in the 20th century efforts to promote student equity and advanced labor rights for protections for workers. Madison College is on the brink of becoming a Hispanic serving institution, and 15% of credit-taking students and another 2% non-credit student have background with Hispanic heritage, for which there should also be additional support services for Spanish language speaker. It's more crucial than ever for the Student Senate to protect vulnerable members of our community and provide a safe space for them at Madison College. Student Senate is committed to fostering relationships that promote inclusivity and create equitable opportunities for all students, providing a platform for individuals and groups to express their concerns and needs. The passage of this resolution marks progress towards equity, inclusion, belonging across all Madison College campus, and Student Senate recognize the importance of upholding the values in interactions with students, faculty, staff, and broader community. We, the Student Senate, for reasons stated above, support this resolution to honor and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month by advancing the economic and social interests of the Hispanic community and reflecting on the cultural heritage, collective resilience, and countless contributions of Hispanic students at our institution and within our Madison College student body. Student Senate will commit to the following actions in support of Hispanic Heritage Month. Student Senate resolves to support Hispanic students, faculty, staff, and community members by advancing and protecting the basic rights that should be accessible to all students, addressing discriminatory legislation and policies against Hispanic communities, ensuring safety, equity, accessibility, and belonging for Hispanic students on campus, participating in the WTCS Student Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Belonging Committee. Student Senate will work in partnerships with clubs and organizations like La Raza Unida and Intercultural Exchange to honor commitment towards inclusion and belonging initiatives, specifically events such as Hispanic Heritage Month Kickoff, which was yesterday. Some people were able to go. Intercultural Fall Social, which can be Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. Dia de los Muertos. That'll be a really fun event. That'll be coming in October. First week in November. And they don't know exactly when, but it'll probably be that Wednesday. Community outreach, they haven't planned the things quite yet, but it'd be cool if we could go to some of those Kleiner Clubs events with Nohaya. And then just other club events and meetings as we can come, just being, showing them some priority. And that's pretty much it. I should probably read this part out loud. References includes some proclamation written by the Office of the Governor of the State of Wisconsin. And so that's where some of this information was sourced, as well as Annette Crowder, who is a brilliant editor and made this resolution really kick off. But generally, now that it's been written, is there any discussion? This is a period for open discussion. Do we generally agree with it? Or is there, because I know one thing that was really trying to focus on is trying to connect it to events on campus when we write these things. And it can't just be a statement just to say it, has to be connected to an event. So I really took that to heart. And I actually, forgot to mention, I talked to Nando. So he's the president. And I've talked to Alex. I didn't show him this though. So Alex Gillis is the advisor for La Raza Unida. And Fernando Ponce is a mariachi player who plays the trumpet and also is the president of La Raza. So he knows about this, and I talked to him, and he went through it, and we made some changes with that. But that's generally kind of the thought behind this. And the goal is really just to go to more of their events and kind of show our face as Student Senate, because we should be present at more club events like NASA, like La Raza, like ASA, today. Okay, we got a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay, at this point, it doesn't seem like is anyone opposed to this? I feel like I'll just straight up ask that. Is there something wrong with it? Does it need to be written better? Not hearing anything. It looks like at this point, I would entertain a motion to, take a vote on this.
I'd like to make a motion to reenact Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh, that reenacted after the town hall ended. So yeah.
Motion 004.
Okay. Thank you very much. So Annette made a motion to the formal motion would be from the resolution. So the resolution as written on resolution 004. So students that recognize September 15th as start of Hispanic Heritage Month. So that would be the formal motion. But do we have a second to approve that? You second that motion. So sorry, motion made by Senator Crowder and then second made by Senator Jackson Winters. At this moment, we can do that is only true for a bill. Resolutions do not have to follow that. Were you able to hear that? No worries. Because that is a rule that we had to look into, so that's why I know about that. But yes, resolutions can be passed at any time. Resolutions only need a simple majority. When it's a bill, you need a what's it called? You need a unanimous approval upon first entry. Otherwise, it needs to wait a week in order to. If it's not unanimous, it needs to wait a week for that. So that is a good point. That is a good rules clarification. Oh, sorry. Can you see everyone else's face on there? Oh, I thought I was. My bad.
No, you're good.
Okay. Well, at this point, if you want to, do you have this open, Elon?
You want me to edit?
Not this. If you could go to, honestly, you can just use my computer to edit. So if you want to, because the motion was made, and the second was properly seconded, and we don't have any more opposition that I can see or hear, we can go ahead and enter into the vote by roll call. So we're going to go through everyone's name except for mine. I do not vote on resolutions or bills and certain other objects unless it's to break a tie.
So, Vice President of Administration Finance, Yilong Tao votes aye. Next, Vice President of Legislative Affairs, Hassan Hashmi.
Yeah.
Aye. Next is Vice President of Team Development, Nohaya Salifu.
She might be saying something.
Nohaya, are you here? Up or abstain?
Okay.
Next is Senator Avila.
Aye.
Aye. Next is Senator Sarah Brunner.
Excuse, so abstain, automatic abstain if they're not present.
Next, Senator Kamara.
That's the Brima.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, Senator Jackson Winters. Next, Senator Jacobson. Next, Senator Drew.
She stepped outside. Maybe we'll round back to her.
Next, Senator Wilkin.
Aye.
Aye. Next, Portage Senator Crowder.
Aye.
Stacy is excused. And then Lando is also left. He has to leave for class. But we're going to go back to Maggie. So you stepped out. We were voting on resolution 3 or resolution 4 for Hispanic Heritage Month. Did you generally agree with that? It is connected to several events. Now, I did meet with the president, so Nando did read it and liked what we had to say and even made some edits. Annette had some edits too. And how would you like to vote on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. And then Nohaya, just to quickly round back, did you get a chance to hear everything? Are you able to vote? Okay, I think we can just move on. you want to read the results?
Results 9 yes and 4 abstain. Pass.
Oh, was Sylvia not on? Oh, I'm sorry. Scroll up. Scroll up on the list. No, I'm sorry, down, I mean. Down more. Yeah, so
Oh,
it cuts
yeah.
off and we didn't get to ask Sylvia. I'm so sorry.
Goodman South Senator Bissonnette.
Aye.
I'm so sorry, Sylvia. I feel very bad about that. You can chastise me later. Do you want to come to Samba with me and Nohaya?
We have 10 aye and 10 yes, 0 no, and 4 abstain.
Okay. Thank you. And just a note for the future, unabstained just means you didn't vote. So it does count for purposes of quorum, but is not a no, and you can win. If it was, let's say if it were 8, a yes, and then it were 7 abstain, is that 15? That's actually 14. Well, if it was 8, it's 15. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so if it was 8 yes and 7 abstain, technically that passes. You just need to have a majority of it. So it's good to note for the future. So, okay, with that, the resolution does pass and we can move on. I will be talking to Hassan next week on Wednesday to sign this officially into law. So we have a few of them to sign, Hassan. So we'll be working on that. That'll just be a quick little ceremonial thing that we'll do together. Okay, we can move on to code of conduct. Am I sharing my screen? I'm not. Okay, so basically with this code of conduct, there was a really big thing that happened. So we had a discussion last week with clubs, and there was concerns about the safety and well-being of certain students on campus. What we realized is that there is no current code of conduct within student life, nor within student senate. And if student senate doesn't have that, then we can't really ask student life to impose something broadly upon all clubs, because the incident in question happened within a club. The club was able to resolve that individually with the student and administration, but because some of those policies are not broadly enacted, basically against harassment of other students, it became difficult to really figure out whether or not all students on campus would be safe if they're not all subject to the same rules. So that's kind of what this discussion came about. Let me go ahead and share my screen so that you all can see. Come back. Okay, so there's a code of conduct and our own code of conduct. Well, I think I just saved. Did I not save a code of conduct? I did not. Okay, well, looks like we'll have to go down the bylaws all the way to code of conduct. Conduct unbecoming of a. Okay, I'll just scroll down to it. Conduct. So in our bylaws, there's Article 5. There is Article 5 on conduct unbecoming of an officer, senator dismissal procedures. You'll see here that Section 1, violation of Madison College policy. Officers or senators formally charged with allegedly violating college policy do not lose their voting rights and may be a chairperson while the matter is resolved at the college level. The rest of the things in here, Section 2, and you'll scroll down and see Section 3, is the process for removing an officer, but there really isn't any guidelines for what counts as what's it called, like conduct unbecoming of an officer, other than what currently exists as Madison College policy. Other organizations do have their own set of rules regarding what would be an abuse of power or improper actions. And I would just like to go ahead and share what the Clarion has for theirs. So I did put that in our new business. And within the Clarion handbook, rules specifically regarding what's it called, harassment. They have a sexual harassment clause. So for what sexual harassment is. So sexual harassment is verbal, suggestive comments, sexual innuendo, threats, insults, jokes about sex-specific traits, sexual positions, nonverbal vulgar gestures, whistling, leering, suggestive or insulting noises, physical touching, pinching, brushing the body, coercing sexual intercourse, assault. The conduct can be called job-related harassment when submission is made implicitly or explicitly the condition of employment. A condition of work-related assignments, compensation, and other factors, if such conduct interferes with a staff member's performance or creates a hostile, intimidating, or offensive work environment. Sexual harassment overall is prohibited, and there are several options for reporting harassment concerns. So, public safety is on there, Dean of Students Office, Director of Student Life, and Behavioral Intervention Team. There's like a bit form that you can submit. And then there's a Clarion in themselves as an individual organization has a code of conduct reporting form, which is included in the handbook. So I just want to go ahead and scroll to their policy on what proper code of conduct is. So they have a formal code of conduct. Whether or not students receive scholarships for their work at the Clarion, all staff members are expected to conduct themselves in a professional manner to abide by their job descriptions, just as they would at any job. This code of conduct is adapted in part from Madison College's student code of conduct and the Madison College handbooks. You'll see it's based on that, but they have their own individual rules and standards they must follow. Staff members are to meet the minimum criteria set out in their job descriptions. Staff members are to abide by the Clarion Code of Ethics. Staff members are to comply with federal and state statutes, city ordinances, and college policies. Staff members are not to interfere with the educational process of Madison College. Staff members are not to interfere with phases of newspaper production unless asked by a senior editor. They must comply with the following rules. If they don't, they may face probation, dismissal, legal procedures. Staff members may not physically or verbally abuse or harass or detain any certain person on the college property. You can't steal property, you can't plagiarize, and that kind of stuff. Like, this is what it is. Then they have action for work performance. If like if people are doing these things, there's penalties for that. Then there's a probation period, and you can talk about creating a plan for what's it called, like improving upon that. They have a code of conduct report form. So that's the kind of thing that I feel like maybe we need in order to be able to take action immediately. Now, I don't have a formal bill or resolution for this. This probably would take a bill in order for us to have something like that. But generally, I just wanted to turn it to everyone. Now that we did an overview of this, what do we think about this? Is this necessary? What kind of rules should we have? Do we need to see a lot more, or do we need a formal way of defining what certain things are? And that's kind of the crusade maybe that I've been on lately. So I'll stop sharing and just go ahead and turn it to everyone else. I see a hand raised by Senator Crowder. Oh, I'm so sorry, Sylvia. Senator Bissonnette.
Well, the code of conduct has me thinking about active shooter situations. Because to be honest, if Madison College has one, I have no idea what it is, and let alone being in a club setting. So that's what that has me thinking about, which I think is important. You see it so many times in the news that some university is facing one, and I don't know, it looks chaotic, and I hope it doesn't happen to us. And if it were, unfortunately, I'm not sure what I would really do other than try to find an exit, but that seems so dangerous. It's like, where do we go? What do we do? So that's what that makes me think of.
No, thanks for sharing that, Sylvia. Wasn't even on my mind when I proposed this. So thank you for that. We can look into that with public safety too. Yeah, Annette and then Hassan on deck.
I'm sorry, is Annette talking?
My bad. It's me. I did it wrong.
Can you hear me?
I muted you. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I appreciate Sylvia, Senator Bissonnette bringing that up, because I have been in an active shooter situation, where someone came to harm. And so I would propose that we look into active shooter training that I'm sure that security could provide for us as a Senate. And I appreciate that. My second thought was in reference to the code of conduct, potential rules that we're going to create. I would like to see what some of the other technical colleges have available, just so that we are making sure that we take a broad look at what some of our counterparts are doing, so that maybe we can be in line with.
Hassan, thank you, by the way. Hassan and then Layla.
Thank you, Senator Annette and Senator Sylvia. That's actually active shooting thing. I think it's not. We don't should shooting stuff with the code of conduct, because it's like 10 times worse than that. One of the things that I really wanted to do, and now I'm going to share it, is that I wanted to talk with the advisor Breed and also Kodiak about public safety, giving giving some information about in case of an emergency.
Yeah.
It's a sensitive topic to talk about, like especially
Hassan.
being in a GA's meeting, but that's why I wanted to talk.
Can you turn your video off
privately.
quick? And then talk,
go
can you say it again, but turn your video off, and maybe that'll help preserve bandwidth. Can you say it again now?
My second thing, sorry, just forget about the public active shooting. My second thing is, if you're a student at Madison College, Madison College has like a huge list of code you're automatically for that. For that, what's the point of making our own call? Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
we'll repeat the stuff for you.
I think what I'm saying is you're wondering what's the point of creating our own code of conduct if Madison College already has it. So the reason why is that when Madison College has to investigate a code of conduct, that can take months in order for it to happen. They have to go through written paper trails, they have to investigate with people, and actually Cole probably has more insight being a former dorm person. So actually maybe you should take this. A dorm manager, would you? Yeah.
I used to work in residence halls.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So, it's a twofold thing. So, yes, Madison College has its own code of conduct that students are held to. That's why the Dean of Students has it placed, and you can find that on the Dean of Students website. So what President Brito is providing, which does provide, let's say, some expedition, but also does allow us to have the ability to state that in case of a situation that would cause undue pressure or concern or harm to another individual or to that operation of Senate, our own code of conduct would allow us to move forward in a separate process that would allow us to preserve the identity, the operation of Senate, while allowing other processes to take place. So yes, Madison College does have its own code of conduct. Yes, if something is reported to the Dean of Students, they will go through with their own process. Us creating our own process for code of conduct or improving upon the section of conduct on becoming of a senator would just allow us to be able to move forward with the preservation of our own organization while ensuring that the other processes are not inhibited by. So we cannot go to an extreme, let's say, but we won't be as we can go beyond what the Dean of Students does provide. What that limitation looks like would be us working in line with Director Rome, as well as probably with the Dean of Students to ensure that we are within compliance. But that is why we have the ability to create that. Yeah, in previous experiences, give me 1 second. In previous experiences, yes, there have been situations that have prolonged. I've worked with individuals where I have to go to court sessions with them. But most of the time in these, especially if you're going to try to go for more of the let's protect our organization while the other processes do take place, you can work a bit quicker with that as long as you have it written out and have it kind of formally identified so that individuals know that as they begin to work into our organization. Does that help, Hassan?
Hassan?
It does help. Just you mentioned that the court when you violate your club's code of conduct or like the whole the college's code of conduct, because now which one has more power?
Hassan, why don't you and I talk, because I think I know what you're saying. However, your audio keeps cutting in and out. But yes, let's talk tomorrow about this, because I do think I see what you're saying and I can provide some more insight. If we want to continue with this into next week at this specific conversation, I'm happy to do so.
Yeah, because I think, Hassan, you're asking a very philosophical question, and I feel like we'll be able to answer that quickly there.
So I'll defer one more question to Maggie, and then I'm gonna turn over to the original speaker, if that's okay.
I want to understand, Kyle, is it the code of conduct we doing?
Yep.
Is it just protecting the people on Senate?
For now.
First, yes, so the one we're going to create or the current one that's there?
The one we're gonna create.
Is specifically and only for Senate, that is
For
correct.
Senate, okay. And do we already have one? You said we don't already have yet.
We have a process called conduct on becoming of a senator or officer.
Oh, yeah, I know about that,
Yep.
but about the active shooter and all that.
So well, I think we were talking about active shooter stuff, and I think this is where we might have derived a little bit from what is the actual conversation. So if we're going to talk active shooter training or ALICE training specifically, that would be separate from our code of conduct process.
Okay.
Yeah, code of conduct is specifically, you are held to this standard, you violate X standard, we can then move forward with the removal process. But if y'all are interested and want to talk more about.
Yeah, we
certain
can
stuff,
arrange that.
like ALICE training or stuff, we can discuss that because there are programs out there. Money's one of the biggest things when it comes to that training.
Right.
Yeah, so we have a code of conduct kind of, but this would continue to improve upon that and create some standards for Senate to hold other senators and VPs too. This would not supersede what the Dean of Students does.
Yeah, but for my own pride, I just think,
Sure.
you know, separating the active shooter and the code of conduct will make more sense.
Yep, that's fine.
And then the other thing I'm saying is, if we are representing the student body, why would we just protect somebody from here, not exclusively?
We'll hold on
No,
that.
No, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, so it's really
something.
Yeah, so I can say it's really simple,
Please.
and I'll give you back.
You know, you were saying if it's necessary or not necessary. I
Okay.
was just thinking if some of it is unnecessary on my part.
Yeah, so here's what I'm gonna tell you. When you talk about the general student body, we do not create policies that apply to them. So if a student is to hit another student, Student Senate does not have any policy about that. We do not enforce anything about that. Dean of Students does. All individuals on our campus are subjected to the policies of the Dean of Students. That will never change. We are creating policies for our organization, like many other organizations and clubs have, that is specific to us. It will never supersede. So we will never be greater than, but nor will we have outreach that will say X student that has nothing to do with Senate is upheld to our standard until they become part of Senate.
Yes.
Did that answer your question?
That answer my question, but
Sure.
what I was saying is
Yes.
when he was talking, he's saying, are some of it necessary and not, and I was
Yeah.
just pointing across that.
Sure.
I think some of it is unnecessary.
Okay, and that's for a great, that's why we want to have the greater discussion as we move forward. So with legislative affairs, once they start meeting, bring that up, because that's exactly what we're trying to do, is begin the discussion that would then turn into the bill that would modify that. So that's good, and keep that for when legislative affairs meet, so thank you.
Yep, and all I wanted to say was Layla, so.
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead, I'm done.
My initial thoughts are that this is absolutely necessary. This is absolutely something that we need to work on implementing and defining for us as a student senate. I feel like if these protections in our code of conduct didn't already exist, best time is now to get them. I've done, and me especially, this is kind of my background. I've done a lot of work, especially in sexual assault prevention and awareness, and I've done lots of research. I've talked with local law enforcement. I've talked with lawyers, attorneys, kind of looking into the policy of these kind of things. So I am a bit knowledgeable on how they work, how they're handled, things like that. So I think just in terms, if this is something that we want to start working in as a bill, if this is something that we want to reflect a greater issue of public safety within our Senate organization, I think that's something that we should definitely get started on.
Okay. Okay, we have Angel and then Annette will come back too.
Yep, I appreciate it. So everybody answer my question, like, and on pursuing the code of conduct for the student senate body, and what are the ramifications if somebody breaks those conversations on the committee. We will dive in more, so thank you.
So he was asking how to identify the ramifications if you violate the code of conduct. And the response is, we would decide that as a group as we begin to develop it.
Yeah, so this is not where those are things to keep in place. Like one of the things I'd really like to see is an appeals process to make sure so we can investigate ourselves. The real reason why this is coming up is that we have to wait. As it stands now, we'd have to wait for the Dean of Students to take action, which could take potentially months when there might be a real threat existing. We might want to, take actions ourselves because an advisor like Doug and the Clarion. So if using the example of the Clarion, Doug and the Clarion might be able to work on that individually with that student and just be able to take some immediate action with the Clarion to protect students. In the past, I can say that they've had to put people on those types of plans so that they can no longer, so that students, when they feel uncomfortable after potentially someone either harassing or even, causing physical cases of harassment, he stepped in and was able to say, hey, that goes against our organization code of conduct, and we're going to have to put you on a behavior plan so that you don't do this, and so the other student can be allowed to, basically be as part of Clarion, because that does currently happen now. So just creating a policy so that we can follow some of those rules too. Someone else had their hand up. Okay, Annette, or is that direct response or?
No,
Okay, so wait for Annette and then back to Layla.
say we can defer to Alex training to team development. And I was gonna say, I agree with you because it's difficult even to get a restraining order against someone in a timely manner. So I just wanted to get you there.
Yeah, the active shooting and all the violence is so completely different from the code of conduct. So that's what I was saying. This is in.
And I agree with that, yeah.
Enforcement, but the code of conduct, we need to look at some of the things that are necessary and some of them that are not.
We understand that, but we have to keep the order of people so they can talk
Yeah,
in the order.
That's what I was saying.
No, but Layla was next. We're just trying to.
Are we still doing the?
No,
Robert's rules?
yes, we're still doing Robert's rules.
Okay, that's
Yes.
why I just decided to I didn't even look, I didn't see yours.
I was actually, I kind of had a partial response to you, but also just something to throw out there in general. Well, we can't control or influence the policies of other organizations, especially the general student body. That doesn't mean we can't endorse them. And so what I'm getting at is being involved. April is our sexual awareness month, for example. If we are out there, we can possibly do a tabling or possibly put out resources and say something like, hey, this is what we guys as the student center are doing. Maybe go to other clubs, put something out there about that, kind of remind them like, hey, if you wanted to instate it into your policy or organization, this is the way that we're going about it as student senate on Madison College campus. And that'd be a good way to influence the greater student body without actually directly changing policies because that's out of our jurisdiction.
And then, okay, so Nevaeh had their hand up, but if you want to talk in the future, just raise your hand and I'll make sure to call on you for that. Does that sound good?
It's okay, I didn't see her, like
No,
I
that's-
say, and I just think the Robert rule is answered. I
Yep,
didn't see
now we
her.
know.
I didn't see her.
No worries. We know it now, but Nevaeh?
So I guess, I don't know if this makes sense, but I guess for the code of conduct, so like, what if someone violates it? Like, will they be suspended from the club for a certain amount of time? Or will they be suspended from all clubs? Like, if they're doing things like, sexual harassment and stuff, like, should they even be able to join other clubs?
Yeah, so there's Cole, I think, has a response to that about severity.
So when you're going to that severity, what I will say is there are already code of conduct and processes in place. Title IX sexual harassment reporting is already, and that's there. When we create our own code of conduct for our organization, it only applies to us. However, and I think when we want to talk severity, I'm just going to put this out there. When we want to talk extreme, is let's say somebody is sexually harassing somebody, that gets elevated beyond any other type of reporting, like a standard behavior intervention report. This is elevated beyond that. So when it comes to stuff like that, we can only control within our own organization. However, the bigger factor is we talk in these extremes is report, and then those processes will take place next. And yes, they do work quickly, especially if the severity is much greater. So good question, but I just wanted to state that, as I know we talk about stuff like that, and working with April and Denim Day and everything is huge, but we do have some of that stuff in place, especially to the level of severity like we might be thinking. This also would apply more to, we don't have something for, if somebody were to make a sexually explicit joke, not directed towards anybody, but just there. You can report that, but we're not talking at a level 10 of where you're gonna report it and immediate action takes place. This is what this would address. And so that's what we're just trying to work for, and what we will continue to talk about as we move forward.
And it could be a simple conversation. Maybe Cole will be informed of that, and then he could have a conversation with that person. Said, "Hey, so you're telling these types of jokes, and really, I think that's inappropriate. And let's talk about like correcting that behavior so that stops and that people aren't saying those things that make people uncomfortable anymore. It could be something as simple as that. So, or it could be something more severe, which could lead to actual termination from our organization. Because right now you have to wait for the dean of students to investigate, and that could potentially take long. So that's kind of what the initial impetus, I think I'm using that word right. I'm learning vocabulary. Is Nevaeh? Nevaeh? Did you still have your hand up or no? We have 5 minutes left for that. I'll maybe more like 2 minutes left. Is anyone else that hasn't spoke? Does anyone want to add to this conversation? Maybe like Nohaya, Yulong, Cameron, Sylvia, or Sylvia, you spoke earlier. Ibrahima, anyone there have something to say about this? No one, you all generally kind of agree with some of the statements we've been making? Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone, for that. I think with that, that just means that we got some good data today from everyone to learn about stuff. We know that we're going to follow up with the ALICE. Is it ALISE or something?
Alice training, yeah. So like the
Okay.
name Alice, like Alice in Wonderland.
Okay, cool. So yeah, maybe team development can take over that. So something Nohaya's group can talk about on Monday, and discuss how do we do that. So maybe we'll connect you with information on Monday, and then y'all can talk about, who it is you need to talk to and get connected with them to actually make that thing potentially happen. We'll discuss what it would take for us to do something like that. Okay, with that, we can go ahead and move on to our non-business housekeeping events recap. Advisor Calio Coteau.
Yep, so just real quick for our recap, and this is just to provide you all the context because we have been pretty successful in our outreach and programming for the last couple of weeks. So for our 9/11 Flag Memorial event, thank you to, and I'm going to try and name everybody, President Brito, Senator Juve, Senator Wilkins, Senator Bissonnette, Senator Dirks. Did I miss anybody?
No, I think there was someone else there. Sylvia was there, Lando, Cameron.
If I didn't say your name, just call me out right now. But we all in collaboration.
Oh, Angel was there, right?
Angel, yes, Senator Avila, thank you. In collaboration with the Veterans Club, as well as a couple former Senate members who stopped by, we were able to plant over 1,800 flags in the memorial event, with 500 of them coming from students. And so it was really exciting to see. A lot of students took photos. A lot of students actually asked and talked about Senate. Some folks gave us their insight that we actually ended up providing to, or their experiences of where they were at the time during 9/11 to VPSA Tim Casper and to President Daniels as well. They both shared their expression of gratitude to us for doing so and are excited for us to move forward with that as we begin to involve it. We also held our Truax Campus Fun Day. Thank you to everybody who stopped by and tabled. There was a lot of you, so I'm not going to remember everyone's name, but thank you for that. We officially added, I believe it was almost 20 individuals to our WOPAC Connect profile. And we are even getting some folks turning out. I've had two folks today ask about Senate, where to go. We also have our visitor here today, so I appreciate you for being here. But super exciting, and definitely something we want to continue. Is that type of outreach is what gets individuals interested and excited to join Senate, and that's why it is important. Which leads us to next week, Tuesday, from 11 to 1, Goodman South Campus Fun Day is taking place. We are looking for at minimum just one person to be there. All of student life will be there. But if anybody can be there during that time, 11 to 1, I'll drive you. I have to go down there anyways, and we will get that situated. But please, you'll get an email from me about it. Please consider tabling if you have the ability to. I would appreciate that.
I'm not promising anything, but I might pop up.
I thought you were signed up on there, weren't you?
I know Sylvia is helping. Sylvia,
No,
thank you
I
so much
put
for
it
helping.
because the date they put was the 7th, and I realized they didn't update it, so that's what I
Okay, sorry.
reported.
Gotcha. So Sylvia,
If I have to update that, I hope she does.
Yep. And then lastly, I just want to say, he's not here, but thank you to Senator Dirks who assisted me. Reached over 52 people at the Fort Atkinson Campus Fun Day. So super excited to see that. And with that, that is all for the events. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. For announcements, we have. Sorry?
Did you say the 24th on Tuesday?
Oh, the 24th? Yes, the 24th, 11 to 1. Mhm.
All right, I'll check my schedule.
Okay, we'll check in with you to see if you can come.
All right.
Announcements. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, September 26th in room C 2402 at 4:30 p.m. as usual. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes. First,
You want to do an announcement? Do an announcement.
every child matters. That's what I was talking about last week. Orange Shirt Day, September 30th, recognizes the harm done to generations of children by the Indian residential schools and is an affirmation of our commitment to ensure that every child matters. Orange Shirt Day also recognizes our commitment to reconciling anti-racism and anti-bullying in general. And then I just wanted to mention that there is an open mic event next Thursday, the 26th, in reference to banned books. They're asking people to come, or we're asking people on Through Your Hard Journal to come in and read excerpts from all of these banned books that are being banned by these extremists.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, second by Senator Bissonnette. Vote by unanimous approval. If no one's opposed, we can adjourn. Hearing no opposition in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, ended at exactly 6:30. Sorry, I thought you were trying to extend. I'm like, weird.